tell me something funny about when you guys grew up.
Well, in dealing with Prak,
Okay.
you always had funny moments. As Leela said, Prak had this, he had this great talent with his voice, and he made use of it.
He won Mukesh
He
competition.
won the Mukesh
Okay.
competition in 1981, and if Prak wanted you to do something, he would use his tongue. It was so sweet. He would get you to do anything. And even if you didn't want to do it when you were done doing it, he would make you feel that you wanted to do it, and you're proud of doing it for him. He had this.
He's a sweet talker.
He had this sweet voice and this way of making you do things and feel proud of it too. Prak and I spent a lot of days, both at university and elsewhere in Guyana. And just before I answer your question, I want to go back and say a couple of things about about him as a person, normal person. I think he was a great son. He was a great father. As a matter of fact, I was with Prak the day when we got the message that Preeti was born. And the first thing that he did was that he had a small mini car in Guyana.
Okay.
And he packed us up, like 15 of us in that car, and he said, let's go down to the hospital.
Okay.
And we went to the hospital, and we went elsewhere after that. I'm not going to mention where. You could use your imagination.
Celebration.
Celebration. And so I think Prak, he lived a normal life. He recognized what was important. And I think one of his greatest accomplishments was his family. And many people may not know this, but Prak really, really loved his family. The family that he came from, the family that when he got married and got his own children, he was really, really into his family. But he had all these other things going on in his life. It would sometimes seem that he didn't spend enough time with them, but he did. And he was very, very proud of them. And
he's a great influence. I mean, we look at Pandit Arunji now. Arun is doing a fabulous job, and that influence could have only come from his dad, in my opinion.
It's true, and Prak had big feet too. And while no one can fill his shoes, so to speak, and no one should, because we're all unique.
Right.
He is unique, we're unique, but I think when Arunji returns from India, he will definitely pick up where his dad left off and take us into the next generation of Hinduism. One thing I have to say about Prak was that Prak did not obviously rewrite the Ramayana or the Gita.
Right.
So the question we ask, so what did he do so special to draw people
to draw these millions of
to
people?
draw these millions? And I've been looking at that since he first came back from India and he started to do this on a worldwide basis. And I think what Prak did was that he combined his skills that he would have had as a surgeon, academics, and he really drilled down into the Ramayana. You see, a lot of, not being disrespectful, but a lot of senior leadership in our community just touch upon the surface of our scriptures, and there's so much to learn from. And I think Prak recognized that we were only scratching the surface.
Right.
So he decided to drill deeper and deeper. And we all know that Prak could take one syllable out of one word and make a cut out of it.
And elaborate.
And when he's finished, he would make everyone understand. From the oldest person in the crowd to the smallest child,
right.
He would make them leave with something. And if he was performing or if he was, preaching at a multi-session event, he would always leave you in suspense the first night so you'd want to come back the second night. He would even give you homework to do.
Really?
So that you would come back prepared. He really did a wonderful job in engaging the community and the public.
And helping people
realize what values and what a great religion we have and traditions and culture. And I think what he really did was that, just like he was a doctor, he really analyzed and dissected all of this information and extracted the juice and the gist of it and spread that nectar to the people. That's what people want. People don't want to measure how religious or how cultural they are by how long they spend in a mandir.
No.
Prak was simple. He kept his sermons short and sweet. And when you left there, you left with something. You never go and leave empty-handed at one of his services. And I think that's one of the qualities that I think will be very hard for anyone to match in our community. where you could read, translate, transliterate, interpret, and let everyone know that our Ramayana, for example, has all the questions to life's problems.
Answered
You just
in
know
there.
where, you just need to
Just
go
have to know where to find it.
go and look for it. It's all there. The Ramayana, as we know, is a story of Sri Ram's life. And as a human being, he lived on this earth. He walked. He had a family. He had parents. He had problems. And it showed how he handled them.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's what Prak tried to spread to the community, how we handle today's problems. And the other thing about Prak is that
using the Ramayana to guide our lives.
I think he used the Ramayana very effectively as a learning tool and also as a religious tool. And he made it in such a way that it's not a story anymore. It is much more than a story. It's a way of life,
right? And
it's something that you would go to and consult for everyday problems.
For your answers. Right?
For your answers. It's all in there, between the covers of that book, and all of our religious books for that matter, are life's greatest lessons that we can all learn. And he tried to instill upon people that when you have problems or when you have issues, don't go and, talk about it. Don't gossip about it. Mm-hmm. You don't have to go in a bar and drink it out. But you can go to the Ramayana or you can go to the Gita and turn the pages and find solutions there.
Find your solution.
Because we all know, and he made it, and he proved it, that our scriptures are as effective today as they were thousands and thousands of years ago. We live the same lives. And he was able to very successfully translate those teachings from thousands of years ago to today's modern world, where people may think that is only a story, and he proved.
Uncle Atma, Auntie Leela, tell me about the past 3 years of Pandit Prakash Ji's life.
Well, it's no secret that he spent those 3 years in Guyana, and boy, were they fortunate. That, he was there more than he was here at the invitation of the government. He was one of the advisors, if I have it politically correct, to the president. But I think he really loved being there because he felt at that point that his mission should really step out of just expounding the Ramayana into the broader world, where he can actually use the message to touch the lives of people. Do
you think he was happy to go back home to Guyana?
He was very happy because he felt that he was actually doing something a lot more worthwhile with his time by being a part of the Suicide Commission, by reaching out to people in the across the spectrum. He was becoming more involved. He had stepped out of the boundaries of just being a priest into a community worker, and I think he liked that very much, and that was very fulfilling for him.
Becoming a humanitarian. Now, how did the people of Mahaica Creek feel about Pandit Prakash coming back to Guyana?
Well, I think they were very, very proud of a son who was born and raised in Mahaica Creek coming back to serve them in a different capacity.
Right.
And I think in Guyana, Prak, he transcended, from being a priest to becoming a true leader. He transcended, cultural divide, racial divide. He touched the lives of everyone. He tried to change the lives of people who were in trouble, who were distressed. And like I said, the people were very willing to accept him as a source of change because they knew the values that he brought with him to Guyana.
Right.
And the people of Mahaica Creek, I tell you, are very, very proud of him to this day. And they are his strongest supporters to this day. And in their hearts, he would always be the sun, the guiding light, the Prakash, that light to them. They would speak of him today as if he were still around. You go in every one of their homes, there'll be a picture of him, just like the one there. And they recognize that in their lifetime, there was this one individual who caused so much change, one normal individual that changed so many millions of lives. And they themselves felt as if they were part of that change. because they were the community that sort of
That started
nurtured him and started him.
nurtured him.
You know, I think Prak was spending time both between Guyana here. He tried to do his duties both in New York at the Bhuvaneshwar Mandir and as an advisor to the president.
Now, there are two branches of Bhuvaneshwar Mandir in New York, correct? And one branch in Guyana?
I think so, yes.
Yeah, I think so.
So he's indeed left a legacy with the temples, not only with, of course, Arunji and Rewti, with the family, but also with the temples.
You know, I have to say that I don't think anybody has raised as much funds for temples around the world like he did. Nobody could match his record.
Okay.
And, you know, he's built a platform and he's made a very valuable contribution in that respect. And if there is anything I think he would like to see happen now that he's gone, now there can't be one Messiah after the other. There's got to be a gap. You know, Jesus came as a Messiah, and then when he left a message behind. What people did with that message is entirely up to them. You can take it and you can run with it. Prakash, maybe you can call him a Messiah because, you know, he brought the message. He got it out there. Now, what do we do with that message? What do we do with that message?
We're going to live our lives.
And that's important because Prak's, one of his message was very universally true. And he always says, you know, be simple, be a sample, and be an example. And I think that's what he would like his followers to practice. He's left a rich legacy for us all to follow. He came in this world for a short time, but it was time well spent. I think Prak understood this principle of blossoming where you are. In whatever environment he was, he made the most out of it.
He made a difference.
Both to develop himself and to take that experience to the people around him. He never felt, well, I need to be in the United States to do this thing. If he was in Guyana, he did what
he touched lives there.
Did there, and he touched lives there. One of the most pleasant last experiences we all had with him was when he read Brother Swaraj's Yajna in May of 2009.
That was amazing.
That was such an amazing event where, you know, sometimes I have to be honest, I go to a yajna the first night and then I go back the last night, but on the way coming home from that yajna, Lakshmee and Ishti were in the car, we were coming, and Ishti said, Dad, I have to go back there every night because it is so inspiring. And Lakshmee said the same thing, and we ended up being there all 4 nights and wanting so much more after that. And in a way that was like, without knowing then, that was like a grand farewell to him.
But
all the family was there.
But do you think, Atma, that was just the doing of us mortals? Or in retrospect, do you think it was divine intervention that this just
I would think it was divine intervention.
Played
that
out.
Everyone was there.
Yeah,
I think it was a combination of both. I think it was a message that was sent to us, and the message came from both ways. The message was partly, we have this great son and he's here to serve this whole wide community. And very subtly, the other side of the message was that you might as well enjoy it now because you're not going to have much more of this.
You know, I have to tell you though, Atma, that I like when Socrates said that man is most prophetic at his hour of death. And his last sermon in Bhuvaneshwar Mandir, I was there, when he said, you know, I think the time has come when we have to change our method of disseminating information, the spiritual knowledge, that when I come back from Guyana at the end of that year in which he passed away, that was 2009, that I will make Bhuvaneshwar Mandir into an institution of learning. And so the message there is that, you know, get past just listening to a priest giving a sermon. What you do with that sermon, I think, is the test. And
apply it to your life.
Yeah, and I think what he would really like to see, if he were to say, is that in every Hindu home there is the Ramayana, and that the family gathers together on a Sunday morning or on a full moon night, or on a Friday evening, you know, just like he did, just like my father did with us. And the book is opened and the book is read. You can even, he has left so much discourses behind that we can just, you know, listen to those and learn from them, even though he's not here.
Right.
And we're so fortunate that, you know, now we have technology that has recorded him. You have
YouTube,
DVDs, YouTube,
DVDs, CDs,
and
internet.
oh my God. So, you know, we can do so much for ourselves. And if there's anything we can do, let's open up our Ramayans in our homes. You know, read it to our children and just keep the message alive.
Take advantage of
Yeah.
it. Auntie Leela, do you miss him?
I do. We miss him very much. The other day it was Preeti's birthday, and you know he always calls her for her birthday, and he was a sort of a security blanket for us. And I think when he passed on, it was if that blanket was pulled from under us, and you know, but you know, like everything else, you know, you have to pick up the pieces and run with it. It's life. And, you know, we are not alone in this experience. You know, death is a universal thing. Once there's life, there's death. And you've just got to think positive, keep it in your heart, take the good things and run with it.
Uncle Atma, you said his message was be simple.
Be simple and be an example to this world. And I think, you know, a lover of Sri Ram and Hanumanji as he was, Prak really understood and followed the principle of humility, of being simple, and of really being a good example to the world. You know, I'm sure he didn't recognize it or realize it back then, but the first song of his first CD when he came back from India, I think tells the story of his life so well. Aye Bhi Akela, Jaye Bhi Akela. And it's a message for all of us that life is short. Life is only 2 days. We should enjoy our lives, but we should also practice it with faith, with dignity, with divinity, and most of all, with love to our families, our friends, our community. If we can't practice love and to have peace among ourselves, then I think the great legacy that Prak left us behind would have been a disappointment to him. He would want to see all of us grow and expand our intellectual horizon and be a source of change to this world in a positive way.
Definitely. Yeah.
And I think that would be his greatest source of accomplishment, if you will. That would have been his greatest accomplishment, where, you know, a teacher always wants his students to be better than him. And I'm sure he would have wanted the world to be as good as he was, although I could tell you, it would be tough to beat him because he was one in this world. We love him. God bless his soul. And even though he's not with us physically, he would always be in our hearts as family, friends, loved ones, cousins, in whatever capacity and relationship we knew that great soul. We would continue to benefit from his teachings for a long, long time to come.
Wonderful.
And may God bless him.
Definitely. Auntie Leela, where does the Gossai family go from here?
Good question, Lakshmi. If I were to tell you where the family goes from here, I could very well be wrong. Okay. I always say to Preeti and Arun that when you get excited, life responds. And the universe finds you worthy, it will direct your course. I think they're both in a very unique position. Especially I can speak for Preeti and Arun that, you know, they're in a unique position. Preeti with her dancing and Arun with his, you know, this path he's about to walk. Don't know where it's going to take him. Don't make any promises out there, but, you know, they're well positioned to take his message into the next generation. And of course, there is his family. There's Atma, who is also doing his bit in the community.
And I would like to sound a little bit more optimistic than you and say that I think the Gossai family is definitely headed in the right direction. We as elders now, and I classify myself an elder in this situation, we have our duties now as parents to do to nurture our children growing up. And I think with all of the lessons that we've learned from great souls like Prak and others, I think, with Arun coming back and Preeti, I think so much talent in the family, in the
Yes.
Gossai family, that, like
They're
I said,
leaders
we
as
may never
well.
walk in his shoes again, but we will certainly make him proud. And we will not let him be disappointed.
Wonderful. Guys, I want to thank you for coming on to Let's Talk with Lakshmi. It's been a pleasure speaking to both of you. I'm sorry we don't have more time to go on and elaborate, because I know you guys have so many stories to share with us, and I'm sure the viewers want to know more. So perhaps maybe another time you guys could come back on
We can certainly
and
do
we
this
can
another
talk
time.
a little bit more about the life of Shri Prakash.
But thank you for inviting us. It was a real pleasure. We enjoyed this experience.
And thank you for coming to my home to do this session. My wife Lakshmi and my adorable daughter Ishti, again, we welcome you. And we thank you for this opportunity to talk about a great soul. And that's the only way we can keep him alive, really, is to talk about him, to practice what he taught
Practice
us.
what he preached.
And again, to make him proud of all of us. He might be a guru to a few, but to us, he is our universal master or teacher. We love you, and God bless him.
Thank you. Viewers, I hope you enjoyed this week's episode of Let's Talk with Lakshmi, where we walked down memory lane and we learned so much about this divine soul as he became a child, a student, a philosopher, and a supreme spiritual leader. We wish the Gossai family all of the best in their continuous effort to lead our community into spirituality and direct all of our young children of today and our elders in the right path of life. I'll see you all next week, same time, same place. It's a date. Let's talk.
धिन धिन तक धिन धिन ना बाजे डमरू धिन धिन तक धिन धिन ना बाजे डमरू शिव जी बजाए बजाए डमरू ओ शिव जी बजाए बजाए डमरू